Stay tuned for the latest message excerpt from Impact Church.
One night, God appeared to Solomon and said to him, "Ask, what shall I give you?" Which night was it? It was a night that Solomon was told he was going to be king. And when Solomon realized he was taken over from his father, he went to the tabernacle of God and he did much sacrificing and worshiped the Lord and was there waiting on the Lord. That night where he went and his posture was, wow, this is a big deal. Lord, I need to first of all honor you. I want to come before you, because I realized to do this, I'm going to need your help. So at this night, that night, the Lord appeared to him and said, "Ask, what shall I give you?" And Solomon said to God, "You have shown great mercy to David, my father, made him king, made me king in his place." And Solomon said to God, "You've shown," or now, verse 9, "Now, O Lord, let your promise to David, my father, be established. For you made me king over a people like the dust of the earth in a multitude. Now give me wisdom and knowledge. Why? That I may go out and come in." Remember that phrase, go out and come in. That's a theological phrase. That is a Jewish kind of a legal phrase. It's a phrase that you should never mess with, because coming in and going out is something that kings did. Coming in and going out is something that's promised on our lives. We'll be blessed coming in and going out. Coming in and going out is a serious principle that everybody should have. All the people loved David, and Saul saw that they loved David because he came in and he went out before the people, and the people loved him because of the way he went in and he came out. So going in and coming out is where you know how to come into the presence of God, and because you know how to come into the presence of God, your going out is established, and you're going out, you go out with power and authority, and you manifest the purposes of God. Jesus said, "I am the door. You will come in and you will go out." So coming in, and so Solomon's saying, I need to know how to do that. I want to do it well, like my father David did. So then God said, "Now give me," he said, "give me wisdom that I may come in and go out before this people, for who can judge this great people of yours?" Verse 11, then God said to Solomon, "Because this was in your heart and you've not asked for riches, wealth, or honor, or the life of your enemies." You didn't say, "God, destroy all my enemies, destroy all the problems in front of me, take out all the wicked people." You didn't ask for that. You didn't ask for wealth. You didn't ask for those things, but because you asked me for wisdom. He said, because you've asked me, you didn't even ask me for long life, but you asked for wisdom and knowledge for yourself, that you may judge the people over whom I have made you king. He said, wisdom and knowledge are granted to you. Wisdom and knowledge are granted to you. Wisdom and knowledge are granted to you, and I will give you riches and wealth and honor such as none of the kings have who were before you, nor shall any after you be like that. Look at that. It said, I will give you riches and I will give you wealth. I'll give you wisdom. I mean, I'm going to give it to you more than anybody ever had before, and more than anybody is going to have after you. You are going to be baptized in the wisdom of God. Pretty good stuff. Pretty amazing thing that happened there. Pretty big transaction. Parallel passage. We're reading chronologically. You'll read in the parallel passage, 1 Kings chapter 3. He said, give me an understanding heart. So what he asked for when he said, give me wisdom, give me knowledge, it says, give me an understanding heart that I can govern these people. Shema is so that I can hear. Literally, I want to be able to hear from you intelligently. I want to hear from you clearly and accurately. I want to have a heart that is driven by the voice of God. I want to have a heart that is so attuned to the voice of God. If I'm going to lead these people, the most important thing that I'm going to need going forward is I need a heart that is tuned specifically to you, a heart that hears your voice and knows what to do. That's what Solomon asked for. And that's what God granted him. If you seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, his way of doing things, all these things will be added to you. I'll bless you with everything else. But if you seek me, if you focus yourself, if you watch your heart, set your heart on me, God's going to bless you just like he did with Solomon. But this was Solomon's request, and God granted him wisdom, more wisdom than any person had ever had before or ever would have after. Solomon was told that's the kind of wisdom God would pour out upon him. 2 Chronicles 9 verse 1 to 4. The Queen of Sheba, she heard the fame of Solomon. Say she heard. She heard about what was going on with this guy Solomon. Now the Queen of Sheba, where she was from, is the same area where the wise men came from to visit Jesus at his birth. They were from an area where they literally believed clearly and really, really felt that we are the smartest people on the earth. There's nobody, no people around that are as wise as we are. So when she heard about Solomon, there's another wise guy in town. There's a guy with amazing wisdom. When she heard about that, she had to go check it out. Look what it says. It says she came to Jerusalem to test Solomon with hard questions. She came because she wanted to disprove him. She wanted to say, look, you ain't smart, I'm smart. So I'm going to bring you some questions. I'm going to prove to people that you're not the wise guy. We're the wise guys. You're a player. You're not it. And that's why she came. She came with that attitude. That's how Queen of Sheba came. All right. So the Queen of Sheba comes. She wanted to test him with hard questions, having a very great retinue. I had to look that word up. It just basically means she brought a lot of stuff. So I changed it to stuff just for you. How many find stuff was a little easier to understand? Thank you. Appreciate that. Amen. Good. So she came with a whole pile of stuff. And so she got there and she brought camels that bore spices. She brought gold in abundance, like 9,000 pounds worth. She brought precious stones. And when she came to Solomon, she spoke with him about all that was on her heart. So Solomon answered all her questions. And there was nothing so difficult for Solomon that he could not explain it to her. And when the Queen of Sheba had seen, say I heard about him. I heard there was a wise guy. I heard about this individual. I heard about it, but now I've come and I've seen for myself. I've seen. What does she see? You can hear about wisdom, but there's something more about seeing the wisdom of God. Seeing the wisdom of God. She's seen. What'd she see? When she saw the house that he'd built. When she saw the food on his table. Amen. He got wise food. Wise food. I don't know what that. I need some wise food. You need wise food? I came last night. I brought a shirt with me because I was here earlier in the day, and I went to put on a shirt that I wore last summer. Fit me fine. I went to put it on before service, and boy, she was a little snug. I was like, what happened? I got some of that winter hangover there. What's going on? So I need some wise food. Amen? Settle down. I hibernated. Did I? Had some nuts and things in there with me. But I mean, look, she saw some wise food on the table. She saw the seating of his servants. She saw the service of her waiters and their apparel. She saw the cupbearers and their apparel. And then listen to this. It says she saw his entryway. And this word entryway means she saw the upper room. The word means upper room. When she saw that place, when she saw him engage and go up into the presence of God, when she saw that, how she went up into the house of the Lord, there was no more spirit in her. Here's somebody who thought she was all that, and she probably was all that, pretty amazing and all. But when she came and saw Solomon, what was it that made Solomon so amazing? You know what it was? It was a download of the wisdom of God. It was that God poured upon him this wisdom. But this wisdom wasn't just something in his head that, let me share some wisdom with you, blah, blah, blah. That wisdom was manifest in every aspect of his life. She wasn't overwhelmed by what she heard him say. She was overwhelmed by how she saw the outworking of the wisdom in his world. And she was especially crushed. That spirit, that attitude that came to test him and disprove him, that attitude was broken out of her life when she saw him engage the presence of God. That's what a wise person does. When, the first thing Solomon did when he had this wisdom, when he had this download, when God granted him wisdom, the first thing he did was he went right to the tabernacle of David. He left the tabernacle where he was on Mount Moriah, and he went to the tabernacle of David, and he stood before the ark of the Lord. When you get the wisdom of God and you get revelation and understanding who you really are to him and how much he loves you and how much he's for you, that'll bring you before his presence without any shame, without any fear, without any anxiety. You will stand boldly in the presence of God and say, I am a child of God. That's what happened with the wisdom that came upon Solomon. If you don't feel like you're a child of God, oh, come on, you need wisdom, because that's the truth about you. He's for you. He's forgiven you. He's healed you. He's set you free. He's a good, good God. Amen? Good, good God. 2 Chronicles chapter 9, verse 22 says, so King Solomon surpassed all the kings of the earth in riches and wisdom. Amen. Is anybody here afraid to be wealthy? Well, I was reading the Proverbs. It says a fool and his wealth are easily parted. Well, that's really easy to interpret. Don't be a fool. Like, I mean, you acknowledging, don't give me money, Lord, I'm foolish. You know, look what it says about Solomon. It says that his wealth, his riches exceeded every single king in the earth. And you know what it says when you read it? It says that Solomon's reign, the reign of the wisdom of Solomon, literally gold and silver were treated like pebbles of the stones. Gold and silver were the kind of things you dropped by a truckload in your backyard and you used to level out, your deck. There was so much wealth. Everybody, the whole kingdom was so affected. Literally, it says gold and silver became like pebbles and stones. That's what it says. How many read it? Should have read it. You're reading, right? We're all reading. That's what happened. This was an amazing demonstration of what wisdom does in somebody's world and life. So King Solomon surpassed all the kings of the earth in riches and wisdom. And all the kings of the earth sought the presence of Solomon to hear his wisdom, which God had put in his heart.